Hi everyone. Today we're going to be having a short debate on the title Are All Managers Leaders? Right? So we'll be looking into what exactly is a manager, what exactly is a leader, what are their differences, how do they get work done, and so on. Right? So without further ado, let's get on with it. So now, what is a manager and what is a leader? Right? A manager is a person who has been appointed into a senior managerial level. This person might have been selected because of his prior work experience, prior work performance. He or she might even have professional and academic qualifications which make him or her eligible into a managerial position. Right? Now a leader might not necessarily be in a managerial position. You see, take a social gathering, for example. There's always one or two people who seem to stand out from the crowd, right? One or two endearing people. And followers seem to listen to this person because this person is so endearing to listen to. Now, this is a leader, and a leader is not necessarily limited to any organizational hierarchy level, right? They can be at any level in an organization, right? So now that we got that out of the way, let's go into the difference. Now, as you can see here, we have two cartoons, and in the first one, we can see a person showing people a vision and pointing out and directing them and telling them what to do and telling them how to execute this vision, right? So this is exactly what a manager does. A manager executes a vision and directs his subordinates. The key word here is subordinates, right? A manager plans, organizes, leads and controls his subordinates, and he executes visions. Now look at the other picture over here. What do you see? There's a person, a stick figure, showing a vision, and everybody is listening to him. Everybody is in awe. They are inspired, right? So what a leader essentially does is he creates a vision and he inspires and motivates his followers to walk down the path of the vision, right? So that is the key difference here. Subordinates and followers. Directing subordinates, inspiring and motivating followers, right? So how do managers and leaders get things done? In other words, how do they do it? Right? Now, first of all, the manager utilizes his position power. Position power is a very important word here. The manager gets his position power to command respect and direct his subordinates, right? So because of the position that is granted in his senior level, people will respect him or tend to respect him and do the work they are assigned, right? And also a manager by default is given reward and punishing power. What that essentially means is that the subordinates, as long as they comply to what he is telling, the subordinates will be rewarded, and if they don't go with what the manager is asking them to do, they will be punished, right? So that is also how a manager gets work done. And furthermore, a manager establishes rules, standards, and processes. In other words, he says, listen, this is the standard of work that I want. This is how you're going to do it. These are the rules and regulations. This is also how a manager gets work done. Looking into a leader. Now, the difference between a manager and a leader is essentially the power. Now, a manager utilizes position power, whereas a leader utilizes personal power, right? Personal power basically means the power gained from an individual's skills and characteristics. He or she uses this personal power to motivate followers to follow the vision. Furthermore, leaders are notorious for having great communication skills and having great levels of charisma. This charisma and effective communication skills makes them trustworthy, right? People feel like they want to follow this person. People want to be a part of their path. And that's what makes a leader get work done from people. And also, a leader is not afraid to challenge the standards and challenge the status quo. He or she might even bend the procedures and think outside the box, which might further influence and motivate the followers, right? So, are all managers leaders? Not necessarily. All managers are not leaders, but managers are put into leadership roles, but that does not necessarily mean that all managers, by default, are leaders. That does not mean that, right? So, a better question which we can ask is, can all managers become leaders? And absolutely, they can. As a matter of fact, any human being, any manager, and even you can train yourself to become the best leader you can possibly be. So, what traits should you and managers work on in order to become better leaders? These are all, in my opinion. Now, the first one I believe is having a great vision for the future. Have a great vision. Effectively communicate this vision for your subordinates. Turn them into followers by communicating this great vision. Inspire them. Inspire them to become the best version of themselves. Sit down and talk to your subordinates. Find out what they are good at. Find out what they are bad at. Make a plan. Try to figure out ways to bring out the talent in every single subordinate you have. Right? This makes you a great leader. Strategic and critical thinking. Think outside the box, like we said. Bend the rules a little bit. People will respect you and be motivated and be inspired by you and your courage and your critical thinking. Next, of course, is charisma. And charisma is something which you are usually born with, but every single human being with a bit of time, dedication, and training can develop the charisma to a particular point. And this can be a great benefit for managers if they want to become better leaders. Emotional intelligence. The ability to relate to another person, the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes, right? This is a great trait every single human being can work on, right? It will help you relate to people and connect more with people. It can help you turn your subordinates into followers, right? Walk the talk. Walk the talk. Do not make empty promises to your subordinates. If you say you're going to do something, do it, right? If you say you're going to accomplish a goal, accomplish it, or at least try. They will respect you, right? And of course, create lasting relationships. Sit down, talk to your subordinates, ask them how their day is, ask them if everything is okay. Try to connect with them as a human being, right? And this will actually create long-lasting relationships and friendships, and you will be a more perceived better leader, right? So these are things which you and I and managers can work on in order to become better leaders, right? Thank you so much for listening and have a nice day. And if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.